Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Salt and Light Hour. I'm Deacon Pedro. Today, we're going to be going into the Salt and Light closet again and pulling out some of our favorite conversations from the winter and spring of 2024. First off, we speak with another deacon, Deacon Kevin Cummings, who tells us all about a new clerical association of Christ's faithful called Deacons of Hope. If you don't know what that is, you want to listen to the conversation. After that, we meet singer-songwriter Michael Zabrocki, and we learn all about his project that is dedicated to the Sacred Heart. In our second half hour, we learn about the prayer social network app Hozana and their initiative to pray 1 million decades of the Rosary for Mary. And at the end of the program, we bring you a featured conversation with singer-songwriter Seph Schlueter, who's taking the Christian contemporary music scene by storm. You really don't want to miss that conversation. And of course, we're going to listen to some great music. We begin now with Deacons of Hope. We all know about orders and congregation of priests and religious in the church, but none exists for deacons. Until now, Deacons of Hope is a self-governing, autonomous, pro-life ministry group comprised of active, permanent deacons in the Catholic Church. Technically, under canon law, Deacons of Hope is a public clerical association of Christ's faithful. And to explain what that means and how it works, I am now joined by the co-founder of Deacons of Hope, Deacon Kevin Cummings. Deacon Kevin, welcome to the Salt and Light Hour.
Hello, Pedro. It's great to be on.
It's good to have you with us. So, what is a public clerical association of Christ's faithful?
Okay. It's not something you hear every day.
No.
But it is promulgated by the deacon's ordinary, which is the bishop in the diocese where the deacon resides. And deacons have to be appointed by the archbishop or the bishop in their diocese to have the Deacons of Hope as a support group within their diocesan ministry. And it's basically registered not only through the Vatican, but in the diocese where it resides as a, let's say, probably the easiest way to say, as an association of Christ's faithful.
Yeah.
The sole priests are designed that way, and many organizations that are clergy in origin, even though we do have auxiliary membership that are lay.
Exactly. Now, and you're recognized by two dioceses, correct?
Yes, we are, by the Kansas City St. Joseph's Diocese in Missouri and the Kansas City, Kansas Archdiocese in Kansas.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do is to spread out to other dioceses to propagate what the Deacons of Hope do.
Yeah, and hopefully after listening to this conversation, we're going to have a lot of deacons across the country and in Canada also wanting to learn more and maybe bring Deacons of Hope to their diocese. Just a quick question. The work that you do is diaconal work. I think deacons are doing that kind of work all over the place. Anyway, is there a benefit to being recognized as an association of Christ's faithful in that sense?
The benefit is we have worked out a pretty organized, program for deacons who tend to want to focus on one ministry, like we do, pro-life, and women who really need help, pregnant women who need help with an unplanned pregnancy, and they happen to be homeless. These women need residence to avoid having an abortion or having another abortion. And because of that, the pregnancy resource centers that we have contacted in our greater metropolitan areas have told us the thing we need the most to prevent further abortions are resident homes. And these resident homes need a lot of components, like to be able to feed, to lodge, and to evaluate and bring therapy into the treatment of these women, along with giving them the stability and love of a residential home that is truly Catholic. We have a a chapel in ours. We have Eucharist every Wednesday, and we have the Rosary on Thursday and Eucharistic adoration every day of the week.
Wonderful.
So we have a spiritual element that isn't found in most psychological treatment areas. We count on the Holy Spirit to help us and to guide us.
So you have in your diocese, you have a home for young mothers. For young mothers,
we have a home for mothers. It's an 18-bedroom home with just as many baths. It's on 14 acres of property. So we have a farm. We do gardening. We have an orchard. We also have an outreach program where an additional 25 mothers who don't live there come and can receive therapy and food and diapers and things like that. So it's a community service area along with a residence center.
Right. And obviously it's not just deacons working in this home. So I'm trying to, did you find in when it all came together that there was a benefit to bringing deacons together in order to get the work done maybe faster or with more authority maybe?
We found that by bringing deacons together and organizing their efforts, particularly in the parishes where they are assigned and in the diocese where they get their faculties and organization, then we have created an infrastructure in these parishes. And then we can go into the parishes and work strongly within their respect life committees and promote not only financial support, but volunteer support and also angels. Angels are women that have had infants or grandmothers, mothers, and they are assigned to these women the minute they call our hotline. And the deacons organize these angels and give them instruction in taking care of these mothers, because these mothers will receive an angel that the minute they call, and that angel will stay with them throughout their pregnancy and after, because these women are able to stay with us in our residence for up to 2 years after they deliver. They can gain education and training and just motherly advice that can really help them when they came from a broken home or some other existence that didn't give it to them.
Yeah. Now, if I hear you correctly, what you're saying is that a deacon can join Deacons of Hope, not necessarily to do the pro-life work or work in the kind of ministry that you're doing, but that the infrastructure that exists that's provided by Deacons of Hope can help any deacon anywhere to do whatever work they're doing, correct?
Whatever their ministry is, whether it's in a prison ministry or foster child care or in outreach for these predators who victimize people on same-day loans and things like that.
Yeah.
Whatever ministry they are into, this is an organizational skill which helps deacons who happen to share the same ministries.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about it. We can accelerate it. We can all benefit from each other's experience, because we don't have a lot of time being deacons. We're ordained in our 50s or 60s. So we've got to get some work done before we're done.
Yeah, so there's a beautiful community networking aspect that is cross-diocesan that I think it's a beautiful benefit here, because for a lot of us, a lot of deacons are doing their work alone, kind of isolated, and maybe even in their own diocese, and they're definitely not connecting with deacons across. So if a deacon, let's say in Canada, is listening to this conversation, can they call you?
They can call me directly by going to our website, which is deaconsofhope.org, and they will see my number and also an application to start being a Deacon of Hope. But more importantly, in our bylaws and structure, we also have a way you can set up a satellite or a charter in your own diocese and begin to seek out deacons that are like-minded in certain other, ministries, and they can form and create subcommittees within the Deacons of Hope to better affect the ministry that they're supporting in any parish.
If they start their own charter or I guess charter group in their own diocese, do they have to have approval of their local ordinary, or does it? How does that
usually
work?
The local ordinary would like to be advised.
Oh, absolutely.
But both our priests, both of our ordinaries, Bishop Johnston and Archbishop Naumann, is a huge pro-life advocate in the United States, Conference of Catholic Bishops. They support us 100%.
Yes, yeah.
Both dioceses. And because of that, That if the bishops accept it as a good thing for deacons to come together, almost like the deanery model among priests, then we come together in camaraderie, we pray for one another, and we help each other so that we don't reinvent the wheel every time we start a new ministry. There's ways to do it and ways to do it better. And we try to promote those. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hope that this is encouraging to a lot of deacons, and maybe not deacons, maybe other people that might know a deacon or might want to, because you also have associates that can join to support your work. We have associates that are in parishes that really want to promote, let's say, foster care for children. Well, all they have to do is contact their deacon, get him more involved in that ministry, you see, and then that deacon can use the capabilities of the Deacons of Hope to better promote what we already know how to promote. You see? That's great. That's great. So, and let me just finish by saying that it's a fairly new organization. You have one strong ministry. Sounds like it's amazing what you're doing in your diocese. And you're hoping to grow in your pro-life ministry by building other homes for young mothers or pregnant women. That's correct. And so we've also opened a pregnancy resource center on the campus of Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. And so we're getting the word out to an early generation, you see, of undergraduates who will also see there's a lot more to do than just send somebody to a resource center. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hope that this is interesting for a lot of our listeners, and that your ministry, I'm confident that it will continue growing, because it definitely has been blessed by the Holy Spirit. Deacon Kevin, thank you for the work that you're doing and for telling us about it today. Oh, thank you, Pedro, and God bless you. You too. You can learn more about Deacons of Hope, as Deacon Kevin said, at their website, deaconsofhope.org. And to listen to this conversation again, in case you missed any part of it, you can visit our website, slmedia.org. Here now is Michael Zabrocki with Only You, which he calls the title track of his new album, Consecration, Hymns and Prayers to the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
I consecrate my person and my life, my actions, my sufferings and every strife, that all my being may be set apart for you. Only you. I take thee as the object of my love, your pledge of my salvation lifts me from above.
Was Michael Zabrocki with Only You from his new album, Consecration, hymns and prayers to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and playing guitar along there with Michael is John Michael Talbot. I first met Michael Zabrocki some 20 or more years ago as we were getting ready for World Youth Day 2002. After that, I really didn't hear much from him for many, many years until he started working with John Michael Talbot. That's how I came to know that he is still doing music, and his music has changed quite a bit from the Christian rock he used to do to more sacred and more suited for the liturgy. And now he has a new album, which we've been listening to, dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And so to tell us more, I am now joined by Michael Zabrocki from his home in New York City. Michael, welcome to the Salt and Light Hour. It's so good to see you. It's been a long time.
It's been way too long, my friend. This is I'm honored to be here.
And
greetings from America.
It's good to see you because I remember you with long hair. I think it was a bigger beard. You looked like you were driving a Harley.
Yeah, it was at one point I almost tucked my hair in the back of my pants, and I had a perm at one point too.
I believe that. Yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about. I mean, obviously we can't get the full story, but tell us a little bit about growing up. Did you grow up in New York State?
I grew up in New York City. Yeah, I've always been. There's New York City, and then I'm one of the boroughs in New York City, so I come from Queens, New York.
Yeah.
And growing up, man, I played in rock bands. I was playing every club, like from wherever you could imagine.
So how old were you when you started rocking?
Oh, way too young. I started, I was probably 13, 14. And,
really?
When I was a senior in high school, 16, I was getting into clubs with a fake ID so that I could go in and play. Yeah.
And you're a guitar player, right? That was your main instrument?
I was playing bass at the time.
Oh, were you? Oh, so I'm a bass player too.
I'm a keyboard player today, mostly.
Okay.
But I still play bass. I play guitar. But back then in the rock and roll days, I was a bass player. Yeah.
Bass player. And did you grow up in a Catholic home?
I did. Boy, did I grow up in a Catholic home. I can't even tell you. I was the altar server back in the day, but we would play the 6:45 play. See how I talk?
Yeah.
I would serve the 6:45 mass, weekday mass in the morning. I wanted to do that. My parents were like, "Why would you do that?" But like my father was driving the nuns around. My mother was ironing the altar pieces. We were a Catholic home. We were right.
And did you ever see, like, were those two parts of your life separated? Like, did you see, like, I could do Christian music, or you just like, I want to be a rock star, but then I can be an altar server at the same time?
I was, when I was playing in the rock bands, we weren't doing anything offensive. We weren't doing any songs that couldn't be sung in heaven. And this was like in the 70s,
Yeah.
So there was a good mix in the 70s. You could listen to the same station and hear John Denver at 1 second, then you hear Led Zeppelin, then you hear Deep Purple, then you hear the Carpenters.
That's true. So yeah.
You heard everything. So the 70s had a good diverse period of music. But while I was doing that, I was still then playing in a folk group. So while I was doing the rock and roll stuff during the week, I was on the weekend doing folk masses. Yeah,
folk masses. At what point did you start thinking that the two could come together, that you could actually be doing Christian music or rock, Christian rock?
Yeah, it was interesting. When we had to learn songs for mass with the folk group, everybody would have this. Back in the 70s, everybody got a copy of Peter Frampton's Frampton Comes Alive. It came with a bottle of Tide detergent, I think. I'm joking. Everybody had to have it.
Yeah, it's funny.
If you were playing in church, everybody had to have all of the Weston Priory albums, like Gregory and Orbit. Who was a very dear friend of mine.
Oh, lovely.
And you
had the St. Louis Jesuits.
St. Louis Jesuits,
man.
Yeah,
of course.
You had to have the Damians, who people don't all talk about.
No, people don't remember
Damians.
Yeah.
And I got to, hang with these guys, and later on. But so they were putting out albums, though, and so that was kind of the start of it. And then once, like, I started getting out of high school and more into college and more into playing more music, that's when the Amy Grants and I still even remember BJ Thomas, who, you know, put out, and, you know, he won every award for his Christian music. So I was kind of inspired by just holding the album.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was like, there was a constant though throughout, even though when I was playing rock bands, there was a constant with my faith. And even as like a little child, I remember looking up at the sky. I love astronomy, you know?
Okay.
And I knew there was somebody bigger than me out, you know?
Right. So it wasn't a weird thing.
No,
because Christian music was, exactly. And you had all those albums. So, but there was a progression. Was there a change? Because when the style of music changed for you, when you started doing kind of more sacred music, like when did
I didn't really, my first album had a definite rock edge to it.
Yeah.
And that became a little weird. Not weird, but, you know, it was funny. I was this guy with the long hair.
Yeah.
So the Catholics, you know, they want to reach the youth. And so they'd come to Mike Zabrocki in this area and say, hey, we got a youth festival coming up and you got to do it. And I always disagreed that they would pick me because I had long hair. They were looking at me like as how I looked. And, you know, it's funny when you want to reach the youth. I knew it back when I was a youth, and I know it today. The youth are not stupid.
Yeah.
They want the truth.
They're authentic.
That's all they want. They want the authenticity.
Yeah.
They don't want a watered down version of Catholicism. They want the truth. They want it straight up. They want their drink straight up, no ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. And it doesn't matter exactly what style of music it is, as long as it's authentic.
As long as it's authentic. And if you're talking to them and you preach it to them or sharing or just whatever, telling your story.
Yeah.
They want the truth. That's all they want. And if they get the truth, they'll be inspired by it.
But it's okay. But you said something just now that I think is interesting. You said that rock album, that first album, that there was something weird about it. Do you feel that there's something more authentic?
Well, you know what, it was weird
something that's more liturgical or sacred or even folk?
Here's the thing. Some music is wonderful for edification. Okay. It'll build you up, but not all music, not all Catholic or Christian music is sacred and should be done within the context of a liturgy.
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
And I learned a lot about that over the past few years, especially from guys like Ricky Manalo, you know.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Not all music is more liturgical. Now, would you say that this new album dedicated to the Sacred Heart, is it intended for liturgy? Is it intended for, I mean, obviously it's intended for prayer.
Yeah, it's definitely not all liturgy. I would say it's more in this album. There are some songs, obviously, that are on it that are good, that would work very well within the context of a liturgy. But it's also meant to increase devotion to the Sacred Heart.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I presume that you have a devotion to the Sacred Heart. Is that
you know, and it's funny. That's one of those things, man, that I had to really pray about and think about. I didn't have that. You know, everybody had that picture of the Sacred Heart. You know, I have one hanging up here.
True.
You know, the picture with the eyes that look around, you know, those, they follow you everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody had that picture. And what happened was during COVID, I was recording masses, videotaping masses in my parish. And my pastor had a relationship with these nuns that had a deep devotion to the Sacred Heart. And he was like their chaplain. So he'd go over to Brooklyn, across the bridge, to say masses for them. And they were so upset that they couldn't have their 9-day novena or anything. And he sat down with me. I said, well, let's just record 9 masses for them and give them their novena online, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to learn a lot about the devotion and how it started. And, you know, it piqued my interest about Sister Margaret Mary Alacoque. And it was their simple sharing about it that made me, you know, they were very kind to me too. They were very nice.
Yeah.
And they had something in them that I wanted. And so I dove into this. And this album was really, it started out as me just doing something nice for them. I wanted to record an album that they could give away.
Right.
And I've probably given them hundreds of copies. They're giving them away. And I think that's beautiful, you know. It was one of the smartest things I ever said and one of the dumbest things I ever said when I said I'd record this album. Because it really made me dive deep into the devotion. But at the same time, how do you pray to a Sacred Heart? a heart, a heart. We're talking to an organ here,
I know. Yeah.
That's not what it is. And I had to really study and try to and pray and really say, what are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really the love of Jesus. I think you played one of the songs that all is changed to love, right?
Yes, at the top
earlier
of the show.
At the top of the show. And that song came from a very simple line that Sister Margaret Mary Alacoque said. I'm going to paraphrase here, that in the heart of Jesus, everything is changed to love. So, it could be your failings, your sins, your doubts, your fears. In the heart of Jesus, it all just changes to love. And that meant a lot to me.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think just that, if any listeners are struggling, wondering, you're right. Like, what is that weird thing that we pray to a heart? Just that one line kind of helps us understand, in a way,
that's it in a nutshell.
You need to know about the Sacred Heart. And we pray that the album is also going to help people get close. You don't have to figure it out in your head. You can just pray with the music.
That's right.
Yeah, Mike, that's all the time we have, but it's been great chatting with you. Great connecting. I hope that you're working on more music so that we can have another reason to bring you back on the show, play some more.
Oh,
music.
Absolutely.
So that will be great. And thank you for this beautiful gift. I'm sure the sisters are grateful, but I'm sure our listeners are grateful too, to have another excuse to learn more about why we should be praying to the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Thank you, my friend. Honored to be. Thank you.
God bless. You can learn more about Michael Zabrocki at his website, michaelzabrocki.com, and it's Z-A or Z-A-B-R-O-C-K-I Zabrocki, michaelzabrocki.com. Here now is Michael Zabrocki with a reimagined version of the classic hymn, Our God Reigns. He titles this one, God You Reign, from his album Consecration, Hymns and Prayers to the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
The mountains are the feet of him who brings good news. Good news, announcing peace, proclaiming news of happiness. God, you reign. 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 You had no stately form. You had no majesty that we should be drawn to you. You were despised, and we took no account of you. Yet now you reign with the Most High. God, you reign. God, you reign. God, you reign. God, you reign. It was our sin and guilt that bruised and wounded you. It was our sin that brought you down. When we like sheep had gone astray, our shepherd came, and on your shoulders you bore our shame. God, you reign. God, you reign. God, you reign.
We're listening to Michael Zabrocki with his version of Our God Reigns from his album Consecration, Hymns and Prayers to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. This is a special summer edition of the Salt and Light Hour. I'm Deacon Pedro. Check out our website at slmedia.org/podcast. Welcome to the Salt and Light Hour Part 2. I'm Deacon Pedro. The month of Mary is traditionally dedicated to the Virgin Mary, and there are countless devotions and initiatives to honor Mary during this month, but perhaps none as ambitious as that of Hozana, that hopes to offer Mary during this month of May a bouquet of 1 million roses in the form of decades of the Rosary. Yes, so just to be clear, that's 1 million decades of the Rosary. And to find out more, I am now joined by Cassandre Verhelst of Hozana. Cassandre, welcome to the Salt and Light Hour. It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Pedro.
So what is Hozana?
Well, Hozana is an association that wants to gather the world in prayer through internet. And concretely, what that means is it's a prayer social network app with spiritual propositions for Catholics around the world. And why did we want to do this? Because we believe, and I don't know if you share the idea, but that prayer will save the world. And that the internet it's a communication tool with unprecedented power in the history of humanity. And so we wanted to capitalize on that, mix the two, and use internet that can be used for the worst, but use it for the best.
Of course. So then there's an app that people download and that helps them with their prayer.
Exactly. So I was telling you about spiritual propositions. We have a lot of novenas for special feasts. For example, for Saint Joseph the Worker, we can ask Saint Joseph for 9 days to help us find a nice work. But then there's also spiritual propositions that can be created by Hozana users through the application or through the website. And for example, I got to know Hozana almost 10 years ago because some of our friends died in the mountain on Christmas Eve, and all of and the family members created a novena for them and asked all their friends to pray for 9 days for the brothers and for the souls of the brothers. And so you can create novenas, and you can find novenas that suit what you're looking for on the website and on the application. And then more importantly, you can also lay your prayer intentions on the app, and people will pray for you.
So it's also building a community of prayer.
Exactly. Because we want to offer Hozana users the ability to understand the communion of saints and provide this communion of saints to users, because how powerful is it to know that 18 people prayed for you today because it was your birthday?
Yes. Oh, what a beautiful thing. Okay, so easy enough. I think people understand applications, and it's an app. They can get it up the App Store or at your website. So the Rosary is not a novena, but I presume the Rosary is one of the prayers. So how did you come up with this idea of honoring Mary during this month with 1 million decades of the Rosary?
Well, go big or go home is our motto. We know that the Rosary can change lives, and we know also that the Virgin Mary at every single one of her apparitions asks us to pray the Rosary. So if she's asking the same thing and gently reminding us the same thing every time, it's worth delving into and developing. And at the eve of the First World War, Pauline Jaricot, which is a French blessed woman, launched the Living Rosary way of saying the Rosary. And basically she gave one of the different rosaries to 3 different people, so that together they said the 3. And we adapted that to today, and we thought, okay, well, how can we make a rosary collaborative? And so we divided the 5 mysteries of each daily rosary into groups of 5 people, so that everyone says a decade, and that together a rosary is said for a special intention or for this with this group. So that's how it came about, basically to understand that the rosary brings peace and hope, and we wanted to be able to make that commitment more feasible, and be able to rest on a community of 5 people that together help each other pray, to gather together to pray together.
Okay, so you're praying with 4 other people, so a group of 5. So you don't have to pray a million rosaries yourself or a million decades yourself, but you're praying maybe 1 decade a day, and together with your group, you're actually praying a full rosary every day, and hopefully you have enough people to add up to a million. And there's a special app just for this initiative.
Yes, that special app is called Rosario, and each decade in all of these different little groups are added to the 1 million decades objective. And for an example, this morning we were at 294,000 decades already prayed.
Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Rosario, so there's an app that people can get at their app store.
Exactly. And it's really easy. Once you download the app, you can either create a Living Rosary group for yourself and your friends or family. You can join one that has already been created, or you can join using a missionary code and join a community that's already praying for an intention.
Okay, I love that. So you can start your own group, you can join a public group if you don't know, or you can, and we're going to create a missionary code for SL Media for people who want to join, other listeners of the Salt and Light Hour or other viewers of Salt and Light television or supporters of Salt and Light Media. You can join a group by using the code SL Media, but you can also join other groups. I mean, there might be, is it easy to find groups? Like if people wanted to join the Opus Dei group or the Focolare group or the Charismatic group?
Well, you can join with their missionary codes, or you can also join public groups that are created, for example, for the Pope or for people suffering from homelessness or any intention that someone wants to
Okay, so you can join by intention as well.
Exactly.
And sorry, let me go back to the intention. So then the idea is that you're praying for a different intention every day, or you can pray for whatever you want in your group.
Well, both things. Either you can join your group because the intention is close to your heart, but within the groups, there's also a possibility there's a little chat box where you can every morning say what intention you'd like the others and yourself to pray for. So it's really interactive, and you can this little group becomes a community where people get to know each other because you're sharing your intentions that you want the others to pray for.
Okay, I love that about this, that it's building community, and it doesn't end at the end of May. You'll still have the app, the Rosario app, but then you should also get the Hozana app so that you can continue praying when novenas or other prayers and posting your prayer intentions and have people praying for you, and you can be praying for other people's intentions. So just one quick question. Obviously, Hozana is based in France. I'm sure it's available in French. It's available in English. Any other languages?
Also in Spanish and in Portuguese.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Across the globe.
Okay, great. So people don't have to speak English. They don't have to speak French. It's also available in Spanish and Portuguese. And I presume that then people can find groups that are in those language groups.
Exactly. And you can also invite someone from one of your French cousins into your English prayer group.
Oh, I like that. I have French cousins, so I'll do that. I love that. Cassandra, is there anything else that people need to know?
Well, that it's completely free.
Oh, so yes.
Free prayer equals great prayer.
Okay, I love that. So completely free Hozana, and it's Hozana with a Z. Hozana, Hozana, and the Rosario. I think most people listening would know that that's rosary in Spanish, Portuguese as well, Rosario. But we'll put all that information on our website. And there's also a blog post at slmedia.org/blog where people can find out more about this. Cassandra, thank you so much for joining us today and for telling us about this initiative and for all the work that you're doing with the apps and bringing people together for prayer and praying for people's intentions.
Thank you, Deacon Pedro.
Yeah, I guess I should say thank you for also inviting us to honor Mary, our Mother Mary. Cassandra Verhelst is the development manager for the Anglophone edition at Hozana. You can learn all about Hozana at their website, hozana.org. That's Hozana, hozana.org. And you can get the Rosario app at your favorite app store. Here now is Seph Schlueter with his single, Stay.
It's hard for me to admit it, but I'm not strong enough on my own. Wouldn't last but a minute, 'cause I'm not built to do this alone. And when you pull me close, it's like a light to my soul. Don't let me push you away. I need you and I know as long as you stay, I'm gonna be okay. The wind can blow, but I won't break. No matter the pain, you never run away. And there's no world where I'm not safe as long as you stay. I'm gonna be okay as long as you stay. You know I tend to wander, but all it takes is a whisper and you're back here. I want our hearts to be tethered, so there's no moment you're not near. And when you pull me close, it's like a light to my soul. Don't let me push you away. I need you and I know as long as you stay, I'm gonna be okay. The wind can blow, but I won't break. No matter the pain, you never run away. And there's no world where I'm not safe as long as you stay. I'm gonna be okay as long as you stay with me. Won't you hold on when I try to leave? You don't play hide and seek. Your love is always chasing me. As long as you stay, I'm gonna be okay. The wind can blow, but I won't break. No matter the pain, you never run away. And there's no world where I'm not safe as long as you stay. I'm gonna be okay as long as you stay. I'm gonna be okay as long as you stay.
That was Seph Schlueter with his single, Stay. We met Seph Schlueter over a year ago when he joined our program to speak about Damascus, a Catholic missionary movement based in Ohio, and Damascus Worship, which is their worship team. Seph is their director of worship. I had heard of Seph before, but it's incredible how his career has skyrocketed in the last year with the success of his song, Counting My Blessings. The song was just getting traction in the United States when it flew to #1 in Brazil on Spotify's Viral 50 Brazil playlist. Then the song was recorded in Portuguese, which garnered more than 70 million streams in less than 4 months. Seph is still with Damascus, but he just came off a tour with Matt Maher, and he just got married, and so I am very glad that he was able to take a little time to chat with me last week. Seph, it's so good to see you.
Me too.
To see you again, actually, because we did have you on the program, I think it was last year when we talked about your work with Damascus.
Yes. Yeah. So it's good to be back again.
Yeah, and you've been busy the last couple months, and I want to get to that in a bit, but I sort of would like to know a little bit more about you just growing up. Like, did you grow up in a Catholic family? Was it a musical household? What was it? What was the Schlueter household like to grow up in?
Yeah, both of my parents were involved in ministry pretty much my whole life. So working for dioceses or parishes or stuff like that. So grew up in a very ministry-oriented family, which is cool. Erie, Pennsylvania for 13 years, and then moved to Toledo, Ohio. And so faith was definitely a big part of my whole upbringing. We'd pray together as a family every day, pray before meals, and pray every night. Like our prayer would kind of rotate between, we would do liturgy of the hours, we'd do the Rosary, we would do praise, worship music, like kind of the whole spectrum.
So that's hardcore. Yeah.
Which is really cool. I feel like I got a very full picture of what it means to be Catholic, and just the beautiful, rich traditions that we have in so many different respects. So my dad would play the guitar, play the piano, and he'd lead us in worship growing up. So I feel like that's kind of where my first exposure to, Christian music was, and listening to Rich Mullins and Matt Maher and, all that kind of stuff was definitely a big part of growing up. So that was kind of a little bit of where I came from.
Yeah, absolutely. So big family. Do you have any brothers, sisters?
Yeah. I'm one of 6. So
wonderful.
6. But that's small comparison because my mom was one of 12. My dad was one of 7. So I have over 100 first cousins.
That's lovely.
Which is just insane.
Beautiful. So, and are you the only one that kind of went into the musical kind of?
Yeah. None of the other ones really got the bug for it.
No.
So I have a sister who really likes musical theater. But none of the other ones have really done much with music outside of myself. So just had the bug for it and kept going with it, and here we are.
And did you? I mean, obviously, you started playing guitar or piano. I think you play both, right? When you were younger, when did you start writing music?
Yeah, so I started taking piano lessons at 5, and so that's really when I started playing piano. Picked up guitar in high school, and it wasn't really until I came to Damascus right out of high school. Which, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a missionary community in Ohio. So they have a 2-year missionary program. And I was really there where I started writing music. I was kind of leading worship and really began to kind of get a heart for just the people I was leading. And it was like, Lord, what do they need to hear? Lord, what do they need to sing? And that's kind of where the writing bug came from, which was cool.
And did you think, I mean, I don't know if that was before college or after college, but did you think I would like to go into ministry, or was that something that happened while you were experiencing Damascus?
Yeah, so I actually never ended up going to college. I had a full ride to a university in Florida, Catholic university called Ave Maria.
Yeah.
And, had it all picked out, like all ready to go. I had a roommate picked out, all the things. And then I really just felt God say like, hey, like, would you give it all up and follow me? Kind of like that moment of casting your nets and just like, all right, I'm gonna trade a really comfortable life in Florida for a missionary life in Ohio, and so that's really kind of how I ended up there. And at that point, I knew I wanted to do ministry. Like I went there because I felt in high school I really fell in love with the Lord and kind of was like, I want to give you my whole life in this way. All of us are called to make our whole lives ministry, regardless of what we do, whether that's, we're in the secular workforce or we're, working for a church. Like all of it's meant to bring people to Jesus ultimately. But I really felt a call in my life to very directly, involved in ministry from high school age, really.
Had you experienced Damascus as a high school student?
I did. Yeah. I actually went to summer camps there. So in high school, I did 2 years of summer camp. And for me, it was really transformative to see young adults living, like they weren't much older than me, they're college age people, and seeing them just like live out a vibrant, beautiful, fun, adventurous Catholic faith was something I really hadn't experienced in that way before. So it was just really powerful to be like, oh, that's what all this can look like. Like I actually like have people I can look up to and see like, that's a great role model to follow, which is really awesome. Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned earlier that one of your, role models, you were listening to Matt Maher when you were growing up. Yeah. I think a lot of us were. And now you were just touring with him.
Yeah. Crazy. It was wild. So we connected over social media and then hopped onto some phone calls and just kind of started talking. He had heard about me and other people were kind of, telling him about me. He's like, hey, here's this Catholic artist in Nashville, coming to town and stuff. So we connected, which is really cool. And he's just been an awesome, older brother kind of figure.
Yeah.
I can kind of go to for questions and stuff and just talk about things. And he ended up doing a feature on a version of Counting My Blessings that I released, which is just the craziest. I remember listening to it and just crying because I was like, this is so like, here's a song about blessings, about gratitude. And, here's someone that I looked up my whole life singing on my song about gratitude. Like, it's just so crazy. And
yeah.
And was really just fun to be able to experience that together.
I know. Talk about blessings. So what are you thinking now, or where are you kind of leaning towards now? You just had the touring experience. Did that bug bite you, or did you say, no, I'm going to go back to the studio, or do I need to go back into like leading worship ministry? I know you're starting a family too. So
right. All of the above.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is the fun part about balancing it all, about you gotta say yes to some things, and every yes to one thing means probably a couple no to other things, So yeah, I mean, I'll be heading out, doing a bunch of random things over the summer, doing a little tour thing in the fall, and then also heading back at some point soon, probably to record some more music, and then obviously still involved with Damascus, so I'm still full-time there. I have a team of, at this point, I think seven people under me. So I'm the director there of worship. So I get to kind of still run a team and do all that. And then, starting a family, which is just super exciting. Baby's due in December.
Oh, and congratulations.
Thank you, man. So just excited. Yeah, lots of fun things. I'm really grateful for an amazing team on all fronts of it. Obviously, first and foremost, my wife being the biggest part of my team, and us being able to do this together. And then my team at Damascus, which really kind of allows me to kind of go do things in Nashville, and then my team in Nashville, which really allows me to kind of do things in with Damascus. It's kind of all works together, and the Lord's really set it up to be something that's fruitful for everyone involved. So really grateful for it all.
And I guess you're always writing music. You've been recording. Are you going to continue recording? There's more. I know that there's the EP that just came out. Is there something else in the works? Yeah,
totally. So it's funny because even all the songs in the EP, I wrote them like 2-3 years ago, which is just kind of really crazy. Yeah. But I wrote them, and it was like, oh, we have these great songs. But at that point, I hadn't signed to a label yet. And so then I signed to the label, and they're like, let's take all this music and release it. And in the meantime, I've been writing pretty consistently since then. So we have a lot of it was like so hard to pick just the next small batch of songs, because it's like we have so many. But really excited about this next batch coming out. I feel like they're really fresh and really speak to kind of where I'm at in my season here and now, which is really fun.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm sure that you're, as you enter into, definitely a new season with marriage and family, that's also going to bring about a lot more fruitfulness in your music and your creative and spiritual life too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just inspiration from the present moment.
I know. Well, that's great. Hey, Seph, it's really good to connect with you finally. And,
yes.
And I look forward to more just great stuff from you, and that you can make some time for us maybe next year and tell us how you're doing. So
love to, man. Thanks for all the work you're doing.
You too. And again, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You can learn more about Seph Schlueter at his website, SLHour.com, and it's Seph, SEPH. Schlueter is spelled SCHLEUTER, SephSchlueter.com. I'm going to put that link on our site so you can find it easily. And you can also find him on your social media and stream his music wherever you stream music. And if you want to listen to the interview again, go to our website, slmedia.org. Here now, to take us out, is Seph Schlueter with that #1 hit song, Counting My Blessings.
It's like it was yesterday, I was praying for a miracle, scared to have a little hope. And now looking back today, seeing all the things you've done, I can't even add them up. 1, 2, 3, up to infinity. I'd run out of numbers before I could thank you for everything. God, I'm still counting my blessings, all that you've done in my life. The more that I look in the details, the more of your goodness I find. Father, on this side of heaven, I know that I'll run out of time, but I will keep counting my blessings. Oh, and I can't count that high. And I know that seasons never last forever, so God, I will remember all of the reasons my heart has to be grateful. All the times you've been faithful to me. God, I'm still counting my blessings,
We're listening to Seph Schlueter with his single, Counting My Blessings. And that concludes this special edition of the Salt and Light Hour. Remember to email me with your feedback on the show. Send me an email, pedro@slmedia.org. And to listen to all our programs, visit our website, slmedia.org. There's a lot of content there, videos, and our blog, which includes my column, Deconstructing. I hope you read it and you like it. But that's also where you can find everything that you want to know about Salt and Light Media and how you can support our ministry, because we cannot do this program and we cannot do our work without your financial support. So that's slmedia.org. Remember, you can also subscribe to the Salt and Light Hour wherever you get your podcasts, and you can listen to us on your Amazon Echo, Alexa, or Google device. So there's no reason to miss the program. Thank you for being with us today. I'm Deacon Pedro.
Before I could thank you for everything. God, I'm still counting my blessings. Oh, that you've done in my life. The more that I look in the detail, the more of your goodness I'll find. Father, on this side of heaven, I know that I'll run out of time, but I will keep counting my blessings, knowing I can't count that high. I will keep counting my blessings, knowing I can't count that high.